And welcome back to Suncoast View. If you are just joining us, we have Chef Narendra from Curry Station in the kitchen today, and we are making some special veggie kebabs. You said that they're with quinoa patties. Talk to us a little about, cooking with quinoa.
Well, it's the beauty of quinoa is like you can have the grain, and if you're looking for the gluten-free, this is the one you are looking for, and also it's very healthy because it has like a full of protein, and it has double fiber as much if you compare to other grains.
Oh. So a full protein with double the fiber, that's much better than rice.
Yes, it is. It is. That's why it's getting very popular. If you go to any fancy restaurant, they will have the quinoa. That's why we are making sometimes the specials. Also in India, we have the quinoa, but it's not very famous. People more like the wheat and rice. But nowadays, like people have more problems with the gluten and these things. So that's why it's getting more popular.
Great.
And we're gonna.
Well, we cannot wait. You save some of those good tips for when we join you in the kitchen. We cannot wait to join you a little later on in the show. Well, some of us are guilty of spoiling our dogs. I will admit, I am one to talk. I wear my dog in a front pouch carrier. But you never know how you might actually be reinforcing negative habits in your dog. Well, luckily, Mark Shambour from Canine Korral is here to tell us how our behavior could be affecting our dog's behavior. All right, Mark, before we get into all the things that I know I'm doing wrong with Lulu, you brought some special dogs to show us from Canine Korral. Let's take a look and see who you brought with you.
That's Elmo. Elmo has a lot of things to do. He has a lot on his agenda.
He's a busy one, huh?
And those two are, it's Jade and Maddie.
Oh, they look just alike.
They do.
Yeah.
Rat terriers, very sweet. Jade's pretty shy, but we kind of brought her shyness out. That's Lexi. We call her Sexy Lexi.
Oh.
She's just adorable.
Pretty cool.
Isn't she
beautiful.
sweet? Yeah. And that's Luna.
Come on.
Luna is just a sweet little dog.
face.
Very, very active, loves water. Too much. And that's Sophie. Sophie is one of our graduates. And
Sophie's
also,
smart.
yes, very intelligent and actually comes to our daycare also.
Oh, wow. Now, Mark, there's something very special about all of those dogs. What do they have in common?
Those dogs are all dogs that their owners are from ABC7.
Oh,
So they have an
really?
association
Well,
with
look at
ABC7.
that.
yes.
Well, they say you start to look like your dog, but I didn't notice any of our coworkers.
But I didn't say anything bad about
I
it.
saw Tim's dog. I
Maybe one or
recognized that.
two.
Well, they were all good-looking dogs. All right. Now, when we're talking about bad habits with our dogs, I will admit that I'm pretty bad about it. You have, I know training is part of what you do at Canine Korral. So you actually have a system and kind of a program. Tell us about the 3 C's.
The 3 C's are, if we're not confident, calm, and consistent with our dogs, they're not going to get the right message when we're working with them. The worst thing to do with a wild dog is to try to be wild. Motion creates motion, so you want to be calm. You want to be confident when you give your commands. And don't tell your dog to do something one day and then not the next, because you're not being consistent. You're just screwing their mind up. They're just getting the wrong message.
And you've mentioned before that training the dog is just as much about training the owner.
It is training the owner so that the owner knows how to deal with the dog, because I'm not with the dog all the time.
Sure.
And the owners can comprehend more than the dogs. Dogs only comprehend single words, certain phrases, and that's the problem, is we think they understand like a human, and they're not human. So we have to be very careful in what message we're actually giving our dog.
And they don't get sarcasm, I've learned.
They don't.
Well, sometimes they talk back.
Or
but-
humor. Well, some of us send, speaking of sarcasm, we send mixed messages to our dogs just about every day. What are some of the examples that we should look at as things to avoid?
Well, first of all, we want to make sure that we're not giving them a mixed message by not being a confident pack leader, okay? One of the ones is, with Tuck, let's see if we can get Tuck. He's our
Tuck's
official
relaxed.
greeter. All the dogs that were in the beginning greeted Tuck just like this. And then they get to do their smell, and he's very non-confrontational. Tuck, are you going to get up? Come on.
He's very comfortable.
Come here.
He thought
All
you
right.
said roll
And
over.
so up. And this is what your dog shouldn't do. And you shouldn't pet your dog, because if you pet your dog when it's jumping, what are you telling your dog?
It's okay to
Good
jump.
dog.
It's okay. And if you got a small little dog, you're doing this. And I bust people all the time when I do private lessons because I watch them. Oh yes, bad behavior. But we love to do it. I mean, it feels good, but Tuck has an issue here.
Well, all right, so if petting is positive reinforcement, I know sometimes we'll pet our dogs when they're barking. What do you say about that?
Well, if your dog is barking, growling, you want to make, or if it's really afraid, you want to make sure that you're not petting it and saying, okay, your dog is barking at me, I'm really a bad person, and you pet it and you reinforce the fact that it should bark at me, that it should be afraid of me, or it should growl at me. So you want to be real careful on how much, and maybe I am a bad person, I
Like
don't know.
Christine has an issue right now with Joey, I'm thinking.
That's why Lulu doesn't like me, because you're like, oh, stop barking at Christine.
Well, we're going to make her better. What is your next
The other thing
tip?
you want to make sure of is that you're not trying to discipline your dog when at a time when the dog hasn't done something bad. Linda's daughter's dog pooped in her shoe one time.
Anytime I leave the shoes out, she will.
And if you don't catch the dog doing it and you yell at the dog, they just think you're mad.
I
They
can't
don't know
show
why.
her
They
the
just-
poop and say, look at this, look at
They
this.
just think he came home mad. But people say that, and that is true, though. They understand the feeling level, but they don't understand what they did unless you catch them doing it.
I'll
And
never
it's-
catch them doing it.
I've noticed on the dog whisperer that you only pet your dog when he's calm and submissive.
Exactly. You want to, well,
Right.
and when you give them love, but usually when you give them love, they're calm and submissive.
Yeah.
What
Another
about
thing you
next?
want to
Yeah.
be careful of is, first of all, throw the flexi lines away, the stretchy lines. This teaches your dog to pull, and it could hurt you or your dog if they wrap around you. If you let your dog walk in front of you, they're going to instinctively do what they think they should do. That's why they bark, lunge,
Pack
they do
leader.
all those
Yeah.
things. Get the dog back and walk next to you on the left. And what I teach is when you want the dog to be a dog, say, okay, go see. Let them walk off into the grass and let them do whatever. But it's called pop, paws on pavement. When the paws are on the pavement, they need to be next to me on the left.
That's a good
Otherwise,
tip.
they're taking it upon themselves, or they're looking back and saying, hurry up, let's go.
They're leading
Yes,
you, huh?
and
The
your
last
next one,
one
this was a
is,
good one too.
some people, they teach leave it, and then they say, okay, take it. And I can't think of one thing that I want my dog to take after I have it leave it. So if you're going to teach take it, do it in your hand, but if you're going to teach leave it on the floor, you're not going to tell the dog to leave the squirrel alone, now go chase it, or leave the little boy next door because he's bad, now go chase him.
All right.
So never have your dog take something that you ask
Oh
it
my
to
gosh, I've been such a bad doggy parent, but thankfully you are helping get us in line. To find out more about any of these great tips and about what Mark is doing at Canine Korral, you can visit him online at caninekorralsrq.com. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
And next, we get to ask Dr. Jenny some of our health questions. We'll be right back.